Subscribe. Help me reach 500 subs by the end of the year. Hello, it is 12 noon on the 25th day of October. I am your grumpy guide to all things gaming, the OGGM. It is another spooky, foggy October kind of day here in Ventura. Hopefully you are all safe and sound. There are Santa Ana warnings. Support me, Coke! So, we already sort of dug apart warlocks. Why not we continue? And sorcerers in D&D are weird. Why do they exist? Why did we need another arcane caster when we already had an arcane caster and we already had clerics who could also, depending upon what choices they make, be an arcane caster, and we have bards who are also arcane casters. So why did we need another arcane caster? And why the choices they made for the sorcerer class in 5th edition? Like, why give the sorcerers metamagic and not wizards metamagic? Because if anything says, I have dedicated my entire life to the study and practice and science of magic to the point where I can take magic and make it do new and interesting things because I have tinkered with it much like a scientist in a lab, it's metamagic. Metamagic feels like a wizard thing, like a high-level wizard thing, not just something, I cast fireballs so yeah, I also can twist the very fabric of the magic without any study. So why is metamagic a sorcerer thing and not a wizard thing or a cleric thing? I understand they wanted to keep it around for whatever reason, but why give it to sorcerers? You know? And why is Arcana a sorcerer choice? I mean, I'm born with the powers. I don't need to spend any time at wizard school studying it or how magic works. Fuck, I don't even know if I care about magic. I'm Bill the Fisherman. And I just happen to also be able to, for some reason, make plants grow. Why? I don't know. I'm a sorcerer. I'm not a wizard. Why would I give a fuck about Arcana? Arcana should not be a sorcerer class choice. It's because they're just born with it. They're just, magic to them is like breathing or the color of our eyes. It's just a thing. So, again, why Arcana? I just don't think it should be a class choice. Maybe they could take it if they wanted to, but whatever. Third, about sorcerers, is the assumption that the birthright comes from your parents. Mom or dad did something, and so now I can breathe fire. Where it specifically says it can be any member of your bloodline at any point in the past, and it can skip generations, like red hair or being double jointed. It doesn't have to be mom or dad. It could be grandpa or grandma, or great-grandpa or great-grandma, or great-great-grandpa's brother. It's just someone in your bloodline did something to initiate this mutation. And the fourth thing is that the assumption that it has to do with sex, where nowhere does it say, again, that it has anything to do with boinking. It's not that mom and dad boinked a demon or great uncle Fester boinked an elemental. It's just something happened. There was some encounter to twist your genetic code to allow you to basically be a magic casting mutant. It's like when the Fantastic Four were exposed to cosmic rays and that passed down to their children. Nothing to do with anything. It could have skipped a generation and their great-great-grandchildren could have had it. It's just a genetic freak. So, again, nowhere does it say it has anything to do with sex. So just that assumption that it's always mom and dad, and it's always that mom or dad had sex with a demon. It's anybody in your bloodline at any point in time did something to mutate your genetic code. So think of it like the cosmic rays that bombarded the Fantastic Four. It was just a thing. And finally, if sorcerers are basically mutants, sorcerers are the X-Men of Dungeons and Dragons. Their powers don't come from a god. Their powers don't come from a patron. Their powers don't come from years of intensive study and practice. Their powers don't come from weird contracts that they made with elemental forces. Their powers are I'm just born with it. And when I turned 12, I was suddenly spitting out fire. They're the fucking mutants of D&D. So how come they're not treated like that? Because I would think that if you have an established religion, an established type of wizardry, and then suddenly somebody comes along and is just like, I can do this, I don't know why. You'd want to take that apart and figure out why. I mean, it'd be the same thing as the way the Inquisition treated witches or Jews. You're different. I don't know why you're different, so we're going to torture you and take you apart until we can figure out why you're different. I would think it would be really interesting if sorcerers were treated like the way the X-Men are supposedly treated, hated and feared, having to live in secret on an island because people are out to get them and don't understand them, even though this is the exact same world with Spider-Man and Thor and the Fantastic Four. We don't hate and fear Spider-Man and Thor, but we hate and fear the mutants, the X-Men, because any one of our children could be born and end up looking like Nightcrawler. So any one of our children could be born and be a sorcerer. So wouldn't people be afraid of that? I don't know. Sorcerers are just weird. Why do they exist? Why do we need a magic caster whose magic comes from their blood? Yes, it's cool. And in fact, if I had a choice, I would say, I would like to see a world where there's just sorcerers. Or, I think it would probably work great in Dark Sun, where there are no established wizardry classes, or like a Thunder the Barbarian type of world where just the mutation is sorcery and the only casters are sorcerer and there's no warlocks, So yeah, just sorcerers are weird. I don't really understand the choice of why sorcerers existed at the time. They showed up, I think, in third edition. It's like, I guess we just needed to fill. I mean, I know there were plans at the tail end of second edition with all the second edition splat books that they were talking about making a new caster. But whatever, just, why do they have Metamagic? They shouldn't. Why is Arcana a class skill? It's not. Why do we assume it's mom and dad, and why do we assume it's sex where nowhere does it say it's mom or dad is sex? I think it's more interesting if, like, somebody in your past, did something, exposed themselves to magical energy, and this genetic mutation skipped, and then for some reason, because your mom had the recessive gene and your dad had the recessive gene and they got together and made you, that recessive gene became a dominant gene and now you can spew out fire. I don't know. Just some random thoughts on just sorcerers and just they're weird and they should just be more like the X-Men. I mean, they are the genetic mutants of Dungeons and Dragons. If you like this commentary and want to see more, please comment down below and let me know what you think. If you don't want to see any more of this, also comment down below and let me know what you think. Either way, it's not up to debate. You need to vote and tell me what you think. Also vote for Joe Biden. Thank you very much. I will talk to you later.